The most common thing I hear from adults over 60 is this: I forgot a name at dinner last week and I panicked. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking, is this how it starts? That fear is real. It is completely understandable. And in almost every case, the honest answer is no. Forgetting a name at dinner is not how Alzheimer's starts. But here is the problem. Almost nobody explains clearly what the difference actually is. Not in plain language, not with specific examples you can actually recognize in your own life. There are real differences between the memory changes that come with normal aging and the early signs of dementia. They are not subtle to someone who knows what to look for. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to look for in yourself and in the people you love. I am also going to tell you about 4 warning signs that are never normal at any age, and 3 things to ask your doctor about if any of this concerns you. If you are looking for brain health information explained clearly, sourced accurately, and delivered without exaggeration, subscribe now. Reach more families who need this conversation. And if you are watching this for a parent or a loved one, stay to the end. The section on warning signs was written for you. Before we compare normal and abnormal, I need to spend 2 minutes on what normal actually is. Because the most common reason people panic unnecessarily is that they expect their memory at 65 to perform exactly as it did at 35. It will not, and that is not a disease. After 60, several measurable changes happen in the brain that are entirely normal and expected. Processing speed slows. Your brain takes slightly longer to analyze and respond to new information. This is not memory loss. It is processing delay. The information gets there. It just takes a moment longer. Name and word retrieval slows. The tip of the tongue experience, where you know a word but cannot immediately access it, becomes more frequent. This is a retrieval delay, not a storage failure. The word is still there. The filing system is just a little slower to return the file. Multitasking becomes more demanding. Managing 2 complex streams of information simultaneously is harder. This is a reduction in working memory capacity, the brain's short-term holding space while it processes. New information takes longer to encode. Learning a new skill or committing new facts to memory requires more repetition and more time than it used to. These are normal. They are universal. They are not Alzheimer's disease. The critical distinction is this: normal aging means your brain works more slowly. Alzheimer's means your brain stops working in specific ways, in specific regions, in patterns that are distinctly different from slowing down. Here is the core concept that frames everything that follows. In normal aging, information is stored correctly. Retrieval simply takes longer. The library still has the book. Finding it just takes more time. In Alzheimer's disease, information is not stored at all. The recording system in the hippocampus, the brain's memory formation center, is failing. The library is not receiving the new books in the first place. That is why, with normal aging, you forget where you put your keys, but you remember you had them. With early Alzheimer's, you may forget that you had keys at all, or why keys are relevant to your situation. That difference between slow retrieval and absent recording is the single most important line in this entire video. Let me walk you through 5 specific comparisons. For each one, I will describe what normal looks like, what early dementia looks like, and explain the biology behind the difference. Comparison 1, forgetting names. You are at a family dinner. Someone introduces their partner, and you spend the next hour unable to recall the name. You feel embarrassed. But later that evening, or the next morning, it comes to you, or with one small prompt, it surfaces immediately. This is normal. The information was encoded. Retrieval was slow. The name was in the library. It just took longer to locate. Now contrast this. You look at your daughter, someone you have known for decades, and there is a moment where you genuinely do not know who she is. Not a slow recall, not an embarrassing blank, but an actual absence of recognition. Or you meet someone you see every week at your community center and cannot form any connection between their face and the context of who they are. This is different. Recognition failure, particularly of familiar faces and people, is not retrieval delay. It involves regions of the brain beyond the hippocampus and indicates a different and more serious process. Comparison 2. Misplacing objects. You put your glasses on the kitchen counter instead of the usual spot. You spend 20 minutes looking. You find them, feel mildly frustrated, and move on. Normal, distracted placement. The hippocampus recorded the experience imperfectly because your attention was divided. You can retrace your steps and generally locate the object. Now contrast this. You find your television remote in the refrigerator, your mobile phone in the bathroom cabinet under a towel, your wallet in a kitchen drawer with the cooking utensils. And when family members point it out, your response is genuine confusion, not embarrassment, but authentic inability to understand how any of those objects ended up there. The clinical significance here is not the misplacement itself. It is the absence of any memory of the action. The hippocampus did not record the moment at all. There's no trace to follow back. There's also a secondary sign worth noting. Some people in the early stages of Alzheimer's begin accusing family members of stealing or moving their belongings because from their perspective, the object was never moved. They have no memory of placing it, so someone else must have. This is not a character flaw, it is a symptom. Repeating questions. You ask your son what time he is arriving on Sunday. He tells you. 3 hours later, during a different conversation, you ask the same question again. He answers patiently. The next morning, you ask once more. If you are the son reading this, this is the warning sign most families describe first. The key distinction here is subtle but critical. In normal aging, you might forget that you had a conversation. In early Alzheimer's, you forget that the conversation happened at all. The event was not recorded. This is different from asking the same question twice because you forgot the first answer. In early dementia, the entire interaction is absent from memory. There is no awareness that it occurred, which is why the person asking seems entirely unbothered by the repetition, because to them, they're asking for the first time. Researchers describe this as a failure of episodic memory, the brain system for recording personal experiences and events in sequence. It is among the earliest systems affected in Alzheimer's disease. Comparison 4. Difficulty with familiar tasks. You stand in your kitchen. You've made this meal hundreds of times. You know the ingredients, and yet the sequence of steps simply will not come. Not, I need a moment to remember, but a genuine blank where familiar procedure used to live. Or you sit down to manage the monthly bills as you have done for 30 years. The familiar rhythm of the task is gone. Numbers do not connect. Decisions that used to feel automatic require enormous effort, and the outcome is often wrong in ways that feel inexplicable. This is called difficulty with activities of daily living, and it is one of the defining clinical markers of early dementia rather than normal aging. Normal aging might mean you need reading glasses to see the bill more clearly, or that the new online payment system takes longer to learn than it used to. Early dementia affects your ability to perform tasks your brain learned so well they became automatic. When the automatic systems start failing, something is happening beyond ordinary slowdown. Comparison 5. Word finding difficulty. The tip of the tongue moment. You cannot find the word corkscrew, so you say, the thing you use to open wine. Your family finishes the sentence for you. You all laugh, and the word comes back a few minutes later. Normal, happens to everyone, becomes slightly more frequent with age. Now contrast this. Someone consistently replaces specific nouns with vague substitutes. The thing, that stuff. You know what I mean. Not as an occasional pause, but as a regular pattern. They describe objects by function because the specific word is genuinely unavailable. A watch becomes the circle that tells you time. A refrigerator becomes the cold box. And progressively, conversations become harder to follow because the language processing areas of the brain, separate from but connected to the hippocampus, are also affected. A person might speak fluently, but with increasing imprecision. Or in later stages, they might understand perfectly, but struggle to produce the words they want. Neither of these is being inarticulate. Both are neurological. There is one misconception I want to address directly because it causes real harm. The myth, if I were developing Alzheimer's, I would know. The truth is the opposite. The brain's compensatory mechanisms are so effective in the early stages that many people with significant early Alzheimer's pathology remain unaware of it for years. They compensate automatically, writing more notes, avoiding situations where the gap might show, asking family to remind them of things without acknowledging the frequency. Often, family members notice changes before the person themselves does. A partner who has quietly started answering questions for both of them at doctor's appointments. A child who notices their parent telling the same story 3 times in one phone call. One of the most meaningful early warning signs is this: when someone you trust raises a concern about your memory, take it seriously. Not because one observation is diagnostic, but because the people who know you well are sometimes the most accurate early instruments available. I want to be specific here. The following 4 signs are not part of normal aging at any level. If you or someone you love experiences any of these, not once in a stressful week, but as a new pattern over days and weeks, it warrants a medical evaluation, not a self-diagnosis, a conversation with a doctor. 1. Asking the same question within minutes of receiving the answer, repeatedly, with no awareness of the repetition. Not forgetting an answer from days ago, but from the same conversation. 2. Becoming genuinely lost in a familiar environment. Getting disoriented in your own neighborhood, in a store you have visited for years, or on a route you have driven for decades. Not a momentary confusion, but a genuine loss of spatial recognition. 3. Significant unexplained personality or behavior changes. Increased paranoia, suspicion, sudden aggression, or a dramatic withdrawal from social activities and relationships that previously mattered deeply. These changes are not mood, they are neurological. They represent changes in the regions of the brain governing personality and social behavior. 4. Inability to perform a multi-step familiar task. Following a recipe you know by heart. Managing finances you have handled for decades. The sequence of steps for a morning routine that has not changed in years. None of these is explained by tiredness, stress, or the pace of modern life. Each one deserves a medical conversation. Before I give you the 3 tests, I want to say something that genuinely offers hope to a significant number of people watching this. Several medical conditions produce symptoms that look exactly like early dementia and are completely reversible when treated. Vitamin B12 deficiency causes memory problems, confusion, and cognitive slowing that can be mistaken for early Alzheimer's. A simple blood test identifies it. Supplementation can reverse the symptoms. Hypothyroidism, an underactive thyroid gland, produces fatigue, memory impairment, and slowed thinking, often undertreated or missed in older adults. A blood test and medication can resolve it entirely. Depression in older adults is one of the most commonly misdiagnosed conditions. Cognitive symptoms of depression, poor concentration, memory lapses, difficulty with tasks, can be indistinguishable from early dementia on surface presentation. And depression after 60 is frequently dismissed as understandable rather than treated as the medical condition it is. Certain medication combinations and side effects, some sleep medications, antihistamines, and anti-anxiety drugs affect cognition significantly. If you or a loved one is experiencing memory concerns, these reversible causes must be ruled out before any dementia diagnosis can be meaningful. This is not pessimism. 3 specific requests to bring to your next medical appointment. First, a MoCA, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, a 10-minute cognitive screening tool that evaluates memory, attention, language, and executive function. Ask for a baseline score at 60 or 65, Without a baseline, there's nothing to measure future changes against. With a baseline, small changes over time become detectable early. The single most useful sentence you can say at your next appointment is, "I would like a MoCA test as a baseline cognitive assessment today." Second, a blood panel that specifically checks vitamin B12, thyroid function including TSH, and HbA1c. These three tests together rule out the most common reversible causes of memory symptoms. If you are already taking a thyroid medication or a B12 supplement, ask when your levels were last confirmed with a blood test. Third, if your doctor has any concerns, ask specifically about a referral to a geriatrician or a neurologist for a full cognitive evaluation. Not a reassurance, a structured assessment. Reassurance tells you there is nothing to worry about today. A structured assessment gives you data that protects you for the next decade. Here is what to do after this video. 1. Write down any memory, concern you have noticed, your own or a loved one's. Not to diagnose, but because when you eventually speak to a doctor, a written account is significantly more useful than a general description of worry. Include when it started, how frequently it happens, and whether it has changed over time. 2. Have one honest conversation this week with someone you trust, a spouse, an adult child, a close friend, and ask them directly, "Have you noticed anything about my memory that has concerned you?" That conversation is harder than it sounds. It is also among the most useful things you can do. 3. At your next medical appointment, use these exact words. "I would like a MoCA baseline test, a B12 check, and a thyroid panel. I want to rule out reversible causes and establish a cognitive baseline." Write that sentence on a piece of paper and bring it with you if necessary. 4. If you are watching this for a parent or a loved one, share this video with them and offer to go to the appointment with them. The presence of a second person at a memory evaluation changes the quality of information the doctor receives and the quality of support the patient feels. The fear that comes with forgetting is real, and it deserves a real, honest response. Not reassurance that goes nowhere, and not alarm that goes everywhere. I want to be transparent with you, as this channel always is. Dr. Mannu Jones is an AI-assisted health educator. Every claim in this video comes from published sources: the Alzheimer's Association, the National Institute on Aging, and peer-reviewed clinical research on cognitive assessment. What this channel provides is not a substitute for a medical evaluation. What it provides is the information you need to have a better conversation with the doctor who does that evaluation. That is the gap this channel exists to fill. One question in the comments before you go. Which memory moment has worried you most recently? Just one sentence. Describe it briefly. I read every comment and I want to build a future video specifically around the concerns this community is actually experiencing. If this gave you clarity where there was anxiety, share it with a partner, with a parent, with a friend who has been losing sleep over the same question. Because the most dangerous version of this fear is the one nobody ever names out loud.